Hey, what's cracking like in the world? It's Cronoxf
Oh, Jalen.
Roberto.
for Nerds at the Square Table. And we're coming back at you from Regal Theaters in Pearl Highlands, where today we've watched Midway. So, we're gonna start with GLN.
What? Why are we starting with me? Huh?
Because he's got a lot to say.
You know what? I went in with a 6. Come out with a 4.5. Dun, dun, dun. Let me.
You better explain some of that 4.5 because I heard it here for almost a good 20 minutes out of you, so I want to hear it right now. Let's go.
Yeah, we just had like a 20-minute rant. Should be going home, but
20 minutes from you, rant or you
that's
yourself.
not me. That's what happens.
He can't really explain it. That's why.
No, it's just there's a lot of things. Okay, there's the score wasn't that good. Never felt epic at all. Didn't care about any characters. I mean, I understand this is historical, and I love historical shit, man. But this didn't hit anywhere. I wasn't even worried about them. Let me finish. Wasn't not worried about the characters. Obviously, we know what's gonna happen. The thing is, though, they rushed into it. They went into they should have just focused on Midway, even though I know how short it is. They could shorten the movie, just give more detail. You know, they made this movie like it's too far spread out. They paid attention to too much things. I think that in a war movie, I think to capture the feeling, the essence, everything in the battle. I mean, they did show strategy and like the whole intelligence behind it, but that's what I mean. Everything was all spread out. I think I'd rather have just saw like, or I paid attention to more of just the battle itself, rather than a whole big picture of just the whole Pacific, because they pretty much explain a lot of what happened in the Pacific. I'd rather just focus on Midway itself. And I don't know, some of the parts were corny. Some of the parts were, you know, just over dramatic. It was like I was watching Pearl Harbor a little bit at some moments. I think I'd rather watch Pearl Harbor. Everyone's gonna hate me for that. But I'd rather watch Pearl Harbor. Because, you know...
Wait. You were complaining about the movie being over dramatic and you'd rather watch Pearl Harbor?
Well, at least it looked better. At least it looked better and...
Okay, man, whatever.
At least you could, you know, like the characters a bit better. But, I mean, they have good name actors here. I'm not saying they don't, but I don't think they pulled it off that well, to be honest. I don't know. It was okay. It was just an okay movie. It's not, like, amazing. It's okay.
What about the historical realism? Was that even good? Was that even good? Honestly,
of course. What? How can you mess up on the realism though? Like, it wasn't even realistic in actuality. Because I thought people were invincible in the movie. But come to find out, I guess they got really lucky. Or some people got really lucky in war. There you go. But, yeah. I mean, they did explain the Japanese part of it, which was good. Because I hate those fucking movies. They're just full propaganda. They show you one side and they don't show you, like, there's humanity in both sides. They're not just all evil. You know what I mean? That's what I hate. Like, these one-sided movies, like, they don't show you, like, they're fighting for their cause. I mean, yeah, they're both doing bad shit. They're killing each other. There you go. It's war. It's fucking war. Anyway, that's it.
Okay. Roberto?
You know, after this rant thing, because I swear to God, I know it's like half asleep, mostly, because to be brutally honest, I thought it was pretty good in general. It's just that the reason why I was sleeping in general is because, you know, this isn't really my type of movies. I mean, watching a documentary was one thing, but to really watch it on screen, you have to be really paying attention. And a lot of things I felt like either I totally missed what was going on, or he just I don't know. Maybe the expectations were too high because
No, my
one thing I was
expectations
expecting him for say what he did say.
Expectations are high for War Movie.
See, one thing he did say that I'll say for him's ass is because he got a chance to see Dunkirk on the big screen on IMAX, which was shot awesomely, which I didn't get a chance to see in IMAX because I'll be honest, I was trying to watch it at home and it wasn't the same thing. Now going to this movie now, for me personally, I went in there with a 4 because I figured, hey, it's a war movie. You can't really do a whole lot. I mean, I thought they did a pretty good job. I thought the action scene to me, I thought was pretty good. I mean, my only complaints for me personally, I just don't really like war movies in general. I mean, documentaries is fine. Watching it on big screen, I guess, like I said, because people want it historically accurate, I feel like is what cheats some of these movies. It's the idea. It's just to be historically accurate and not really be able to do, maybe to break off that curve or throw a curve into it. So it's because of that accuracy. Because like I said, it's in the very beginning. It tells you this is supposed to be an accurate documentation of what happened. So you figure they couldn't break that. So because of that, for me, I just felt like I was bored because if you know the story of it, it's like I couldn't really do anything different. You know what happens. Even though some of the parts sounded unbelievable, but like I said, it's hard to unbelieve it. But at the same time, if it's supposed to be historically accurate, it happened, and that's what you got to go with. And since it went like that, I'm gonna go with, besides me sleeping probably 70% of the fucking movie.
Wow.
I was probably sleeping 70% of the movie. That's what makes it weird. I was sleeping 70% of the movie, but somehow he didn't enjoy it. While I was thinking, hey, this is not bad actually. He really didn't enjoy it. So I was like, all right, something's wrong here. I felt like I saw the wrong movie maybe. I think we saw the same movie, I think, but maybe my mind was somewhere else at the time. But who knows? But anyways, I went in there with a 4. I'm gonna give it a 5 because I figured it was a lot better than what I thought it was gonna be. So I'm going in there with a 5. All right, for me.
All right. I'm gonna be a little bit higher than the two of those guys. I'm gonna give it a 6 because I thought it was actually pretty decent. I mean, in the beginning it started looking like Pearl Harbor, and I was getting a little afraid, but they didn't actually go into like character-driven narrative. So, and they actually focused on a lot of characters, which diminishes your attachment to any single one character, but it gives you a better overview of what was actually happening in the battle. And I thought that was a really good perspective to have. You got a little bit of the strategical side, and you actually got a little bit of the, soldier side of being in the battle and what was actually happening. Because it's pretty important for a battle like this, because unlike battles on the ground, you don't have as many personalities in play to affect the battle. A lot of these naval battles are fought in groups, in units, and like air groups and like carrier groups, and all these things are units, and the battles are usually really methodical, and like it's really hard to change or divert what you're doing within the battle, unlike a ground battle where you could like, instead of charging straight in, you could pincer attack. But these things take a lot more time to do on the ocean when you've got big hunks of metal to move around, and it's so the battles are always a lot slower. And so having that strategic aspect actually made it interesting. And the fact that intelligence played a humongous role in this movie. So, I mean, it does lend itself to more like Windtalker, and I can't remember that movie. The movie with Benedict Cumberbatch and Keira Knightley, where they break the Nazi code. It's another code breaker movie. Oh, I can't remember it. I'll put it in the description later.
Is that something game?
Yeah, like
Something game or something?
They break the Nazi.
yeah, they break the German code. So yeah, so it's kind of like those kind of movies in a smaller aspect, because they focus on that, because it was really important to the Battle of Midway, because if they didn't get that information, they would have known where the Japanese were coming from, and thus they wouldn't have had the surprise aspect where they could have taken out 3 of the 4 carriers. So,
'Cause that's what pretty much they need, right? The surprise element.
I mean, the whole battle was, the crutch of that battle was to take each other's carriers out. Because the carriers take really long to build, and they're really important in a naval battle because fighters and bombers can launch off of carriers, and those are what do the most damage to any type of naval battle.
I think they're like by around that time they're discovering that battleships were like not.
I mean, yeah, and the battleships were not really. Battleships are the battleships. It's a battleship. But
I thought that was the bigger part, but then again, like you said, they skipped over that part, right?
I mean,
battleships they should have shown a little. I mean, for me, if I nitpick it, if I was actually paying attention to the movie, I'll nitpick that. Hey, shouldn't they start off with a better battle with the battleships in general? But
I mean,
yeah.
they did skip a lot of things because they only showed you one submarine, but there was a whole line of submarines.
See, that's what I'm talking about right there about me falling asleep. See, I missed it on the part. Especially too, what about the kamikaze pilots? They did not show that either.
They showed one.
One.
There was one scene where they had a kamikaze pilot, so they didn't they kind of glossed over it, but at least it was in the movie. That
Yeah, but I felt like wouldn't it have shown a little better. I mean, this is my opinion, you know.
I think it would have showed more character than actually if they like.
I mean, but they didn't really focus on the Japanese pilots, so
Yeah.
it would have made more sense if they had focused on the Japanese pilots, that they would include more kamikaze type tactics.
Right?
But they didn't really focus on a Japanese.
I just needed something to draw me in more. It didn't draw me in.
I mean, it's a short battle. It was integral to the Pacific Theater, but it lasted only a day. It wasn't that big. It wasn't a huge blip on the battle. It's not like the Battle of Bunker Hill or D-Day, where the thing takes freaking 4 or 5 days. It wasn't like that, but it was really important because Japan lost 4 of its carriers, while the U.S. only lost 1.
It wasn't, it didn't last that long, but it was pretty fucking important.
Yeah,
So that's
the crutch
fast.
of the Pacific Theater was in this battle, because whoever won this battle won the Pacific. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. So I'm higher than the other two. So I got a 6. Roberto's at a
5.
and Jaren got
4.5.
So that's our review of Midway. And so next week,
Wait, hold up. Before next week, we'll try to see if we can get Dr. Sleep before next week. Actually, seriously, we should try get that movie in before we watch next week. Next week is supposed to be.
So Dr. Sleep sometime this week.
Right? We gotta make sure we get that in.
Yes.
And then Ford versus Ferrari
Right,
next
next week.
So
Damn.
check back with us. Like, comment, subscribe. If you watch Midway, leave a review.
Tell me how wrong I am.
If you agree with Jaren or not. And we'll check you back next week on Nerds of the Square Table. Oh,
We are getting our values.
yeah.
Oh yeah, there's
we
a
are.
bunch of movies which eventually I would like to talk about when we get to that video one day, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll try to sum up what we think, what's going on this year.
Yeah, for the rest of the last 2 months of
We
the year.
did take a pause. I mean, not really, but we've been watching movies, but haven't been consistent lately.
But these 3 of us,
Life
hopefully
comes
get
into
them.
play a little bit, but
We'll see.
we're putting stuff up.
But anyway,
Try.
check back later. And for Nerds of the Square Table, peace out.